When I traveled to Saddleback Church, I had the chance to speak with Pastor Warren alongside his wife, Kay. She has a new book out, Choose Joy, which describes her life's new philosophy and how their struggles over 3 decades of marriage have sometimes made her anything but joyful. I think a lot of people would look at you and think, you're lovely, you're intelligent, you have an adoring husband. You certainly don't.
Why wouldn't she be joyful?
You certainly don't want for anything.
Right. Joy has to be something that's more permanent. And it's in God. The bottom line is joy is really only found in God, because He's the only thing in our lives that cannot be taken away. Everything else. Rick could die. I mean, he could die tomorrow. Our church could decide that they don't want us to be here anymore. All those things could be gone in an instant. And for me to experience joy, it's got to be in something that is going to last, can't be taken.
So it's not just faith in Christ. It's the idea that that's all that really matters.
I think just faith by itself isn't enough. It's got to be what I do with that. Joy is a settled assurance that God is in control of the details of my life. It's about developing a quiet confidence and an assurance that ultimately everything is going to be all right. I mean, we've had some pretty rough things in the last few years, and I can honestly say that I have more joy. I've cried more, but I have more joy.
You talk about some pain that your family's had. What are you talking about?
Well, you know, I was molested as a child, and that created a lot of disruption and dysfunction in me and carried over into adulthood. Our daughter, and call her daughter-in-love, had a brain tumor 3.5 years ago, and she nearly died and was in the hospital for 5 weeks. Her son, her 7-week-old baby, had been born prematurely and nearly died. We have close family with some mental illness. For us, it has been challenging and it has been difficult.
The book also is a little revealing about your marriage. It talks about a time that Rick said he wasn't sure if you even liked him.
Yes.
So how are you guys sitting here today?
It was painful.
Well, I'm hopelessly in love with this woman.
I guess the question is, why is she here?
Yeah, that's a good question.
He just said to me, I'm really not sure you like me. And I was like, what? Of course I like you. And he's like, no, I know you love me, but I'm not sure you like me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, you constantly just pick at me. And, you know, at first I was like, yeah, right. But when I seriously thought about it, he was right. He was exactly right. I had developed, I'm a perfectionist, and I had just spent way too much time pulling apart the things in him that I didn't like, instead of concentrating on the part of him that is so incredible and so fantastic.
Oh,
so
talk more about this. Please, go on.
You're smart, you're
you know,
loving.
the bottom line on this is that if you have to have things perfect in order to be joyful, you're never going to be joyful.
No. I really think that life is more like this parallel set of train tracks where joy and sorrow run next to each other inseparably. Some of the highest moments in our lives are still tinged with that little piece of everything's not perfect. And even in the saddest, most painful moments in our lives, the sun is still shining, there's still beauty in this world, and those train tracks, they just go side by side.
Our thanks to Rick and Kay Warren.